Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm gonna redesign the Mercedes EQE 53 AMG to something I think is a little cooler than what it is. So let's start with the spec and tech for the EQE 53. First of all, power and performance is all good. It has 617 horsepower in the standard all-wheel drive trim, and you can get it with 677 horses when optioned with this Dynamic Plus package. 0 to 60 takes about 3.2 seconds, which feels not too quick for an AMG EV. Compare that to the Taycan Turbo S or the Plaid, for example. It doesn't really compete with those in 0 to 60 time, but it says it has a range of 305 miles, which sounds good on paper, and I believe that when I see it out in the real world. I want to quickly show you the EQ philosophy of Mercedes and kind of what I think doesn't really suit Mercedes. The thing is, this front end up here, if you can't see the differences between these two, I completely understand. But up here we have the EQE, and down here we have the EQS, and they are very, very similar to each other. It's almost like they took the EQS, just shrunk it down by 15%, and boom, you have an EQE. But the thing with these new EVs from Mercedes is they symbolize this blob design that I really don't like with EVs, and that comes with a very good drag coefficient, and the EQS, I believe, is the most aerodynamic sedan in production. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what I heard, and that's what you get when you have this type of shape. Mercedes has gone the route to try to make this as efficient as possible, and that shows in the design. What I don't like about these front ends of these EQ designs is that everything is flush with the body. It's like all the graphic features and the grille, for example, is a sticker on top of the body. I don't get any sense of 3D and sculpting in this design, which again is completely in line if you want to have a car that is as slippery as possible, and that's of course what Mercedes wanted to do here. I don't think these are separated enough to be two separate models. Yes, we have a little bit more of a curvature here in the EQE compared to the EQS, which has more of a almost like a straight line going into the headlights, which I think in this case, if we look at these two, I think the EQS looks a lot better for two different reasons. One is that we don't have these curvatures and these almost melted cheese-like comeback design in the graphics, but also this corner is something that bothers me, to have this corner of the headlight just cut into the grille and don't really have any connection to any graphic feature, but it does in the EQS, because if you see here, we have this connection. So this entire piece is part of the headlight. We have an LED right here in the middle, which kind of connects this corner and make it feel like it has a better flow in the graphic features in the front end of the EQS compared to the EQE. And now looking at the side view, this is the typical bean shape. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to jump into the redesign pretty quickly, but just show you the bean shape that I'm talking about. Is that we can essentially sketch these cars by just sketching out an ellipse like this, maybe make a little dip here for the greenhouse, but nothing in the rear that shows that this is a proper sedan in its proportions. Instead, this curvature just goes all the way down and never comes back up, except for in this rear spoiler. And we have a pretty similar design in the EQS, as you can see in the side view. We have the A-pillar stretching all the way forward to this point, and this sharp dip in the front end just doesn't feel stately enough, specifically not for the EQS. I wish Mercedes would have taken the approach of reducing the miles by 10-15 miles or whatever, and make it more into a sedan looking with classic Mercedes proportions, instead of having every single EV from Mercedes look basically the same in graphics and in proportion and in everything. And here you can see the rear view. You even have this same type of outlet in the EQE that we have in the EQS, and I don't see a lot of differences in the rear end of these two cars. We have a straight line here for the EQE, while we have a little bit of curvature in the EQS down here, and that's pretty much the only differences that I can see in these two cars. We have one more LED bar here as well, comparing it to the 4 that we have in the EQE. We have 5 in the EQS, and that's pretty much the differences in the rear end. With that said, I'm now gonna jump into the redesign. We're gonna take the EQE from a rear view. I'm gonna add a Mark IV Supra wing onto it. I'm gonna design some sort of a wide body kit, put some Brabus wheels on on there. And last but not least, implement a bi-turbo V8 with a diffuser and quad exhaust. So let's get into it. Well, that was my redesign of the Mercedes EQE. Try to make it into a cooler car than what it is. And I think this looks cool. I mean, yes, we're not going to be able to open the trunk, but who cares? We have a Mark IV Super wing on there. I also lowered it quite a bit, and as I said in the beginning, wanted to put some black Brabus wheels on here. And last but not least, we also need to have, I wanted to see what this will look like with quad tailpipes, and I think it looks pretty good, especially with this new body kit that I designed for this. I've never done that before, so that was quite challenging to try and visualize a body kit that kind of pops out by a couple of inches from the body and have a separation between the two pieces. Oh, and I also added a this air intake in the front fender. That actually comes from the new Honda Civic Type R. I thought that would look cool in addition to the air outlet that we have in the rear fender. So having something in the front end fender as well to kind of connect those two. And that's about it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.